I have Abraham Amaliba. He's a legal practitioner and member of the NDC, and also with the MPP is Emmanuel Tremantinge Jakon, member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, already late into the morning, so let's quickly get on to the main issues of discussion. Just before the close of the news night yesterday, we're told that the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Abdul Nasiru Isahaku, has resigned from his post, and I have to start with you. He said that it was a personal decision, but we know there were some undercurrents.
Yes, good morning to your viewers. Long before this decision was taken, there were moves to get the man out of office. We had snippets of information indicating that the current administration was not comfortable with him, apparently because the previous administration appointed him, and probably they were thinking about ideological differences. So, for me, was he pushed or he jumped? And my conclusion is that he was pushed.
He was pushed to jump.
He was pushed and he jumped.
He was pushed to jump.
But you see, it brings into sharp focus the larger picture of whether or not you must belong to the same political party before you can work for the state. It brings the question as to whether, as a governor, the MPP, with all their ministers, all their senior ministers, all their trade finance ministers, were of the view that the governor alone could even sabotage their economic agenda. But knowing the MPP, I am not surprised, because clearly, even before they came to power and took over the reins, when the president was appointing people during his tenure of office, when 7th January this year had not yet come, they sounded as if when they come, they were going to remove all these people. So, for me, it is more or less doing what they promised they were going to do, to remove those they can remove. And I'll be surprised to hear that they are doing this because they think that the governor of Bank of Ghana would not be able to fit in. I think that he's a professional, and if they had allowed him, he would play his role and serve this country well. But unlike the NDC, that kept people in power when we came into office. When you talk about the Cocoa Board, you remember 24th year?
Yeah, 24th year. Was appointed by
Kufuor. When he came, he allowed him to serve his 4 years. That is the kind of political party I belong to, where there's no vindictiveness, there is no antagonism. Every Ghanaian is allowed to, and I don't even know, Paul Akwa, during our time, served until he retired.
I think he served for some few months.
He served after, yes, and he retired. So, once again, we are seeing a vindictive government that has come into play and thinks that everybody must belong to them before you can serve this nation. And that's what we have voted for. So we'll live with it for now.
At the end of the day, we know that, well, at the time that the governor was appointed, ultimately, if the government lost elections, people will call into question his position in itself. Wouldn't you say, Mr. Tremantinge Jakon?
Well, good morning to viewers, and thank you for having me. I think that the matter is that the governor of the central bank has resigned.
Well,
I have read.
Politically correctly, yes.
I have read that he has said that he was not forced to resign.
And you say that?
He has resigned for personal reasons.
We all expected him to say that.
That is what is official. If we want to go into the unofficial, I don't want to get into, I will not allow myself to be dragged into this mud of some party is vindictive. Who is vindictive? President John Evans Atta Mills sacked people. And what he said is that he is not ideologically in sync with them. He sacked people. I was asked to proceed on leave.
Which position were you occupying at the time?
It is not, it is immaterial. But, you know, I mean, and I said I will not allow myself to be diverted on that tangent. So, but if we want to look at this governor, where did he come from? Do you want us to go into it? This is a man who contested 2 times on the ticket of NDC.
He did?
So he's confirming what we are talking about, that you must be MP before you can serve this country. Go ahead.
This is a governor who 2 times contested. Sabanjida, Gupegu Sabanjida. So you want us to do the politics? We can do the politics. And really and truly, where did he come from? Did he go through the ranks to become governor?
But not all of them went through the ranks.
No, I agree. Paul Akwa was brought from IMF. You understand me?
This man was like ADB, African Development Bank.
Paul Akwa was brought from IMF.
But you don't have to. You're not saying that if you
I completely agree. But the fact is that don't come and sit here and say that this is a party that will not. So should we allow, if you want to do the politics, and I want to do the politics, so should we allow an NDC failed parliamentary candidate in the heart of the economic management? Come on. What are you talking about? If you want to do the politics.
But does it matter if the person is...
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But the man says he has resigned. I believe that he felt uncomfortable. My considered view. And if I were, I would feel the same way.
Is that what compelled you to resign at the time?
Well,
which position did you say?
As the people in my office.
Which position did you say you were
occupying? As the people in my office. I told them that in the unlikely event that my party lost power, I would go. Because it is untenable. Look, I think time has come for us to become a very serious people in this country. In the United States of America, because of a built-up institution, people are chairman of the Federal Reserve for 34 years, for 40 years. And it really and truly does not matter. Who doesn't know whether Bernanke is a Republican or a Democrat? Who doesn't know where this current chairperson...
Because they have those insulated institutions.
Yeah. You understand me?
And the atmosphere too allows it for you.
But in this country, Amaliba should point out who was kept. Paul Akwa had just a few months.
24th year, I know, was appointed by...
24th year was a veteran of the cocoa marketing board. Veteran. The man had worked there for 40 years. The man had worked there. He was not a political appointee.
But still was appointed
Yes. So, like where I used to work, the person who has been appointed chief executive was not a political appointee like me.
Before you came?
Yes. I was a political appointee. Opuni is a political appointee. So we should leave the political appointees. No. I think that we must be true to ourselves. If you are a political appointee, I think that we must, indeed, I will propose that we should go to parliament. If you're a political appointee and your party loses power, you must go. It happens in America. So what is all of this?
They have not put any law to it, but I think by the moral sense of it, they just resign.
Yes. So what is this big deal?
But is it not a big deal? Is it not a big deal if somebody based on the public utterances, perhaps it's compelled?
I am saying that 24th year was a veteran. He worked there for 40 years. You cannot compare 24th year with Dr. Opuni. You cannot. You will become, if you go to GMPC where he was the chief executive officer.
I wasn't
where he was a member of the board.
You didn't have to add that, but continue.
Come on. The outgone chief executive.
Alex Mould.
Was not a veteran. There are people that are veterans. For me, if one of the veterans had been appointed, he worked there for 32 years, he rose to become chief executive officer. Let's not pretend. If we are political appointees, like me, a political civil servant, I think that the honorable thing to do is to resign. Let's not confuse the issues. Let's not mix the things. Apples are not the same as mangoes. If you are a political appointee to a position, you must expect politics has consequences. Politics has consequences.
That's why we should be realistic.
I didn't start from Food and Drugs Board from the day I qualified as a pharmacist. I was appointed chief executive officer. The honorable thing to do was to be asked I would go myself, or to be asked to proceed on leave. There is absolutely 1000% nothing wrong with it.
You see, this line of argument confuses the whole issue.
Why?
Because
is it not morally right?
There is no direction. We are talking about an office whose tenure of office is guaranteed.
It's stated.
It's guaranteed. Don't be talking about your office, which is a loose one, or my board of directors, which is a loose one, which goes in tandem with the president's office, who appointed you. We are talking about people in the category of the Chief Justice. We are talking about people in the category of Shiraj boss. We are talking about people in the category. The governor of Bangladesh is in that class. What will make a man whose tenure of office is secured to resign that way? What will make a man? So we are not talking about offices that are coterminous with the tenure of office of the president. That one, indeed, if you have stayed longer than one day wait,
that is the example you used.
If you stay,
that's the example you used.
You, when you were a chief executive of Free and if you had stayed a day after your president was out of office, they were right to come and pack you out, because you know that the man who appointed you, your stay in that office is coterminous with his stay. So for this one, and that's why I'm saying that you are lumping the things together. Now, Tony, when we were talking about appointments of people and how a government has come and has said that I can't work with this person.
That does not guarantee continuity despite their competence.
Now, we talked about 24th year. It's an appointment anyway. But I have given that an example to show that even where we have the capacity and we had the right as NDC to remove him, we did not. Let alone a place like the Bank of Ghana or like Shiraj, where these offices are secured. That's my line of argument. So it must, look, this man must either be chased. He's being chased. That's why he has to resign. Because there's nobody who, on his own volition, occupying an office whose tenure of office is secured, would voluntarily do the thing that he has done.
Let's look at this scenario. For example, no, before you come in. For example, you contested for, is it BoG Central?
Yes.
Okay. And if, let's say, the next NDC government comes, you are appointed to a certain position, which is in the same mode or replica of, or the line of appointment of the Bank of Ghana, or you have a certain sense of security for your job, etc., as stipulated by law. How comfortable would you feel in a government which perhaps you don't feel comfortable in? Is the onerous thing...
I didn't hear the man say he's not comfortable.
No, but...
Did he have to tell you?
I didn't hear the man say
his position doesn't allow him to be speaking on platforms
I didn't
left,
hear
right,
the man
center.
say he's uncomfortable in that
But
position.
he contested for 2 positions.
It doesn't matter.
2 times.
There are justices at the Supreme Court who once were political appointees.
Who?
They are there, Apau. Why? You are a journalist, you should know Scott. Right. Was PNC General Secretary.
Has anybody asked him to resign?
But you should know that.
Has anybody asked him to resign?
Don't you know that he was PNC General Secretary?
Has anybody asked him to resign?
He was your body.
Yes.
So I am saying that.
And you are saying what
I'm saying is that, are those people not serving the nation? Are they being political in their positions they are? Are they? Look, people are... and the reason why you secured the position is to ensure that he doesn't become political. Because if he knows that his term of office is cured, he will not be playing to the gallery of political parties like chess games and wanting to butter his bread somewhere. Look, it is as bad as the MPP is vindictive to remove and to say that the man has resigned. The man was pushed and he jumped. He was pushed by the MPP and he jumped.
If he knows something that mere mortals like me and you don't know, that is another matter. Maybe he called him before he came here. But you see,
he didn't need to call him, did he?
But you see,
I have my own mind.
But you see,
on these things.
But you see, the man himself has come to say that he was under no obligation.
You think that? What do you mean? You think that the man will tell you those things? So
Mr. Chairman,
he will not rock the boat. He's an intelligent man. You don't do that.
But you
go
see,
honorably.
But what do you say? You're supporting such a move.
Should I say something outside what the man himself is saying? It is only what he's saying that I can parrot here. In any case, you talk about people. Whom have we asked? The constitutionally mandated position. Whom have we asked to go? Is the chief justice? Is she still not there? The commissioner for Shraj, who was appointed out of 10 when other people had said,
if you hunt them like you are hunting him,
has he been asked to go?
If you
who again?
You never know.
Who again?
You never know.
You hunt them.
I am saying that who again? He's called Vital. Has he been asked to leave? I mean, come on.
You hunted a man.
But Vital also worked through the ranks, just like the way you argued.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He came in at a certain point.
Yes, but so far, the last couple of years has been through the ranks. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, what is it? I mean, I don't really and truly see. Look, truth well told. Truth well told. Why did I don't know the man, and I am very careful about speaking about this young man.
He's a young man.
He's a young man. I think he's younger than me. But if you want us to politicize it, we will all step into it. Where did he come from? For all we know, he was appointed managing director of. He was working in African Development Bank. He was appointed. Look, if you go to Bank of Ghana, where many people not jumped over for people to be made where they are.
Is it the first time?
Is this the last? Is this going to be the last time? Is it going to be the last time? In the army, in the military, in the police, where people not jumped over for other people to become what they are? It happens every day. Why are you complaining?
So what's the point?
So why are you complaining? Why are you sitting here this morning and complaining? It's okay.
That's come on. I'm running so you're exposition also. So the next topic is about the COCOBOT CEO, and I think as we brought in the discussion about the emolument or the salaries that are gotten by those who had the SOEs. What has become topical is about the quantum of the money that is paid to him at the end of the month. Should that be the thrust of the argument, Mr. Chairman Tinyejako?
You see, I one day when the issue about the 110 ministers of His Excellency the President was I was on it. I said that I will beg His Excellency the President to appoint a minister for public sector. I think that we really need a big look at our public sector.
As in rationalization?
Look, these are SOE, state-owned enterprises. Okay. These are state-owned enterprises. I hear that the governor, indeed, when this matter broke, we are now being told that the governor of the bank earns 89,000 cedis a month.
Yes.
We are hearing that. So the argument that
ECG, VRA.
The ECG
GNPC.
was the VRA. These are state-owned enterprises. I hear BoG makes 62,000
refinery
a month. I don't know what my old office they earn. I don't know. It's not too much.
FDA.
Yeah, it's not too much.
How much did you earn when you?
Nothing.
Okay.
Next to nothing.
It was close to nothing.
Yeah, but you see,
his own. Yeah, he wants
the point I am making here is that I think that this must call into question how we treat the public. You know how we treat the whole gamut of public sector compensation. You know, single spine attempted to do something. I think single spine was not thorough enough. It was not detailed enough. You know, I mean, I have heard when MPs are paid salaries, when MPs are giving loans to buy cars, then there is a huge hue and cry.
Uproar, actually.
Uproar.
We're usually appalled.
The president of the republic
it even compounds when you are giving your ESBs.
The president of the republic earns 20,000 CDs.
22,000.
Something in that range.
It's
we have been told that the governor of the bank earns 4 times what the president earns. It is okay. But for me, it is the relativities between that one and the minimum wage. I never say that a lowly person like me, a clerk in an office, should earn the same as the governor of the bank. No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm not a communist. I don't believe in that thing. But I think that we must begin to relook, particularly if they are commercial. Okay.
Entities.
Cocoa board. Yeah, cocoa board. How much you borrow on us, on the back of the state. You go out to the market and borrow $2 billion a year to purchase cocoa. Oh. Today, I am hearing that there's no money to
the last, it was 1.8, I believe.
Yeah. We need to look at the accounts. So they borrowed that $2 billion. How much profit are they making? I think that benefits must relate to productivity. If I make a lot of profits, if Cocoa Board is making profit of, if they borrow on our back $2 billion and they are making profit of $400 million, and the chief executive wants to take $1 million, I'll be happy. But if they are not, and for the last 30 years, every year they go out to the market to borrow and they are not even able to accumulate money so that a time comes they don't need to go, then Servita Frache, even me, about on school uneducated man like me can do it. Nothing fancy. Roland, if it is just government, parliament will grant the rights and hold and you know, this cocoa thing is always oversubscribed because what means they plant 60% or so of the crop and they are able to sell and pay back. I hear that there has been some challenges lately, though.
It's a ready market, you say.
Yeah, so you don't need nothing.
It's not a rocket science.
It's not rocket science. Then we can we can pick somebody in the street and become chief executive of Cocoa Board and pay him $75,000. 75,000 cedis a month. What I'm saying is that, particularly for the SOEs, bust. I think we should look at their balance sheet. In the last 4, 5, 6 years, what is the profitability? And if it is profitable, it is okay. If at the end of the year they are paying dividends to the owner, government, to the tune of $50, $60, $70 million, and the chief executive officer.
So you're saying the positive return on investment should then warrant the commensurate compensation?
Yes. Okay. But if you are state-owned enterprise, you borrow on the back of all of us, and you are making losses, and you are receiving 62,000 CDs a month.
It's 70,000.
No, I'm talking about bust.
Okay.
You know all I'm saying, and you see, this is just the salary. We haven't spoken about the houses they live in. They live in houses that they pay rent $5,000, $6,000 a month. They drive the best of cars. They have the best of conditions. They sit in first class. They don't even sit in business class compartments. They sit in first class compartments on the airplane. Okay. What I am saying is that if you are making profits, if you are chief executive officer of Cocoa Board, and every year you are giving government $200 million, you are bringing into the national kitty $200 million. But if your terms and conditions is worth $1 million, I don't mind. And every year we are looking at your key performance indicators, and you are going up. You are deserving of it. But if you are chief executive officer and you borrow on our back 2 billion and you make losses and you are still earning 70,000, then it is problematic.
Your view on the subject, Abraham Amaliba.
You see, yesterday when the news broke, people tried to hang Opuni. But I'm happy that they have brought out information regarding most of our SOEs.
It's not really about Opuni, is it?
No, yesterday it was about Opuni. And there was hue and cry about it. But I'm happy that they have brought out a list of CEOs who even take higher than him. Now, for me, no employee goes into an office and pegs his salary. I'm sure when you were employed here, the multimedia people had to peg your salary for you. You don't come and determine your salary when you are in the office. So the question to ask is, what was the salary peg for Opuni or for a CEO, whoever was going to occupy the office? What was the scale for that person? So if we think it is too much, then we should be blaming those who peg the salary. And I know that there is a board of directors who superintend over the activities of the chief executive. Did they have a hand in pegging the salary? But in all this, for me, the amount of salary should be commensurate with performance. So the next question to ask is, do our CEOs have KPIs, key performance indicators? If they run the organization, as he's claiming, that Cocoa Board is not making profit, if they run the organization aground, are they still entitled to that amount? It shouldn't be just that it's blanket. Whether you perform, you don't perform, you take it. It must be tied to performance. And for me, that's where I think. But if as a nation, we have now seen it. We've seen it. What boss is there? Ghana, Bank of Ghana is there. We have seen it. And we've GMPCs, everybody's there. We have seen it. And even with Opuni, he's like number 3.
Are you saying the argument now has become more political than how transparent and impassive and objective it should be?
I don't know the objective of those who's...
Is it about the personality of Opuni?
Good. So yesterday, and that's why people came out with that counter list. Yesterday it was about Opuni. But the counter list came about because people were trying to hang him. And I'm sure maybe his collaborators or people who are in support of him may have also brought out this list. But if as a nation we think that this amount is huge, he is in parliament. He cannot be complaining like I'm complaining. He can make a statement in the house.
What do you think? Do you think the salary is too much? I mean, the salaries generally of the chiefs of the various SOEs.
If you look at the way the ordinary Ghanaian is barely surviving, and then you look at the amount, no doubt, you say it's huge. Because most Ghanaians are just living by hand to mouth, just trying to put their head above water. So if you look at that, then you clearly say that, no, there are challenges. There are issues of schools not having chalk. There are people who are still drinking water contaminated with other fecal matter, which causes cholera. There are these matters. So when you see a CEO taking that amount, then you begin to think that it is disgusting when you look at the circumstances under which our people live. That I agree. But I think that we need to look at it in more detail. And if we think that it is too much, then we can begin to do something about it.
And a last round of question on this. Mr. Chomate, yesterday, for example, and throughout the rest of the evening yesterday, the argument was that the president even doesn't take, takes about 22 and all that. If we have to peg a salary of a CEO of a highly capitalized and probably should have been a profitable state enterprise, should we cap it with what the president takes, because the president is supposed to be the chief executive?
I don't think that the president necessarily must be the most well-paid,
or should be the benchmark.
not necessarily. I am saying again that I am a firm believer that compensation must relate performance, particularly if it is a private organization. MTN, Vodafone,
Google,
let's even stay local.
Google, they take millions.
Let's take local.
200, 300 million.
Let's remain local. Unibank, that one, whatever they earn is their cup of tea. In the same way, my firm conviction is that for the state-owned, and I want to emphasize state-owned enterprises, it is we the people. It is my sister, Yabedu, that owns that company. So if they will ride on the back of Yabedu and borrow money and make losses, then it is unjustified. But if they borrowed money on the back of my sister Yabedu and they were putting back billions or millions of dollars into the state kitty, I think the laborer is deserving of his reward. For me, that is the crux of the matter.
Okay.
You want to get paid 70,000 cedis a month?
You think it's too much?
I will not place a judgment call on it.
Okay.
You want to pay 70,000 cedis a month? That's okay, that's fine. But you must ensure that every month you are paying government back probably $50 million, $20 million. Then you will be deserving of that pay. But I say that it is immoral, it is wrong.
Okay.
That you get paid 60,000 cedis a month. And then at the end, when you do your balance sheet, you tell us that you have made trading losses.
According to Forbes, some of the highest paid CEOs of Fortune 500 companies take home, even the least they take home is 10.5 million US dollars.
Did you hear me?
I know. I know what you said.
But you see, if
but you should tell me what is the balance
and their
sheet
compensation.
And what profits are they making?
Yes, they make huge
That
profits.
is the most important thing. It's not how much you earn. How much you earn must be related to how much you are bringing in.
Sure.
But even in the advanced countries, in the US, for instance, the president is not the highest paid, in those countries. So
No, you don't need to.
we shouldn't be pegging it at the presidency with the president's salary.
It is your bread, no dear. It is the one who is making the contribution.
Yeah.
But I say, what upsets me
is that your companies are not doing well.
Your companies are not doing well. You are
your
borrowing
balance
money
sheets are terrible.
you are borrowing money on the back of Yabedu,
The taxpayer.
the taxpayer.
Yabedu, the taxpayer.
Yes, you are borrowing money, and you are adding debt to the national. You are adding to the national debt stock, and you go around driving a BMW 7 Series that has not come before. If you want to go and do it in a private enterprise, I don't mind.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Amaliba, do we have a certain history to it? Perhaps maybe post-independent, we wanted to attract and reward the best. And so perhaps that has been, because even back in the day, I remember if you work for companies like the VRA, ECG,
I remember
the
under the Kufuor administration, Roku-based salary was an issue. I don't know whether Ghanaians have.
Well, it was at the time. I remember they said he was taking 60 million or something. But I mean,
so
no, I think that his own became an issue because the workers felt he was shoving it in their face because he was redoing his office and all that. But he came to meet what he had, and the board compensated him for.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
He brought to the table.
Normally, you have these offices already have their salary spec. But if we think that it is too huge, let's begin to revise it. But again, you see, you look at these organizations. I'm not holding brief for them. You look at these organizations and you feel that the reasons why they peg their salaries that high is for them to be comfortable to be able to deliver, because they are dealing with a very huge sector which invariably, if it is collapsed, would have an impact on the entire country. ECG, if you don't manage ECG well, you know what will happen.
Trouble.
Cocoa sector, it is the mainstay of the Ghanaian economy. So you want to pay him well so that he will have a free mind and be able to deal with the problems. Are they dealing with the problems? That for me
is the question.
That for me is the question. Are these persons
You're on the board of
problem?
GMPC. I'm not saying you should trade in anything, but do you think that for such highly capitalized entity like GMPC, I mean, the monies that goes into exploration and the things that they deal with on their balance sheet, I mean, that's huge.
Yes.
And of course, due to the way we're running the oil sector or the way it's trading with its partners, definitely you don't expect GMPC to be bringing in a lot more in terms of its profits, etc. But the intent of GMPC, the objectives, logically will mean that you have to attract the best person to be the CEO, whether politically appointed or not.
It's okay, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Can be politically appointed.
And you have to pay the person very well.
Yes, and that person must also deliver. You know, so it's, you don't just pay, but you expect that person to deliver, to make the company a going concern. And that is where I think we must begin to look at and ensure that these persons, well paid, must also deliver and turn the fortunes of the company.
I will say it again. It doesn't matter whether the appointee to Cocoa Board or to GMPC or to BoG is political. It doesn't matter. And I don't even want to worry too much about the sum. I want to find out, are they adding value? If you are adding value, then you are deserving, the Bible says the laborer is deserving of his reward. If you are adding value. But I want to state that if you borrow $2 billion on our back, and we can't even get money to buy cocoa beans, then you are not deserving in the least. It is as simple as that. If you are adding value, if we can see cocoa production going from 700 through to 1 million, through to 1.2 million, if you earn $100,000 a month,
that's not your issue.
But if it is not happening, you came to meet 1 million and you are retrogressing and you are increasing your salary. I mean, what kind of thing is this?
Dr. Wusu,
I have a little information on the cocoa sector. The weather conditions also affect cocoa production. And as we speak...
over the last 2-3 years?
Yes, as we speak...
Because we've not been doing well.
Yes, and as we speak, the current cocoa administration, the management, are saying that due to weather conditions, I don't know whether you've read it, due to weather conditions, we are not going to hit our target. This current administration.
They just came in.
I'm saying that
the major season has passed.
They are saying that due to the weather conditions, we are not going to hit
but
our
we have,
look,
we have other critical factors that ensure that cocoa does well.
Yes, so I'm saying weather is one.
Mass spraying,
we decide.
proper distribution of fertilizer.
Insecticide, proper distribution of fertilizer. Okay.
And the criticism was that was not done the last couple of years. Well.
And I'm saying that the current administration, the board chairman is Hackman.
When did he start? When did he start?
They have indicated in news.
When did he start?
Google. They are saying that because of the poor weather conditions,
my little knowledge about the
cocoa. You don't plant cocoa today and harvest it tomorrow.
I'm saying that.
And let me also say,
weather conditions will not allow
conditions in Ghana and in Ivory Coast are the same. Conditions in Ghana and Ivory Coast are the same. Ivory Coast continues to do 1.6 million tons.
Ivory Coast does not to develop like that.
Ivory Coast continues to do. Look, we have.
But
it is instructive to note that Ivory Coast has 1.7 million.
Ivory Coast has plantations.
Respectfully,
we have
respectfully
smallholder acreages. So the system is quite different.
Ivory Coast has 1.7 million hectares under cultivation. We have 1.7 million hectares under cultivation. Ivory Coast is doing 1.7 million, 1.4 million tons. We are doing, we hit 1 million tons and we are coming back. So it is not only about weather. I agree. And climate change
and with the season and with the cocoa sector, this is the time that they are harvesting. So it means that whatever should have been done the previous farming season.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that closes the thing about the weather. So whatever has to be done by the new management and board to make sure that next year by this time when we're talking, we have good yields ongoing. Dr. Owusu Efri Yakuto, he's a Minister for Food and Agriculture. He inaugurated a board, a technical committee for the implementation of what we call the Planting for Food and Jobs campaign. And it's a call on the youth and the public to go into commercial farming, almost a replica of what we call Operation Feed Yourself. Mr. Chamantinge Jako, you believe that we can do this to haul every young person in the nooks and crannies of this country to go into farming the way perhaps we saw a Champon implement it in the 70s?
Anything that adds to ensuring food security is okay. I am happy about this planting for food and for jobs. Okay. I think that the major challenge that confronts us as a nation, the single major challenge is unemployment. Can we create something for people to find something to occupy themselves? Is it possible? Things like when the Kufuor administration with the MPP started the National Youth Employment Program, that was the basis. Even if it is stopgap, can we begin to find something for Kwesi Mensah to wake up at 5 o'clock and look forward to go somewhere? Similarly, with the help of the Canadian government, I think that over a period of time, they have committed to give us 125 million Canadian dollars as seed to do this. I am hopeful. It is, for me, it is not, what is critical is always the implementation. They say that the devil is always in the detail. I am happy that they are inaugurating a technical committee to look at this properly. We should not just jump into something we are not too sure of. I want us to look at it critically and do the needful. But to the extent that it will increase food output and ultimately ensure food security and give some, even if it is 5,000 people, something to look forward to. It is an addition. It is adding to job creation and improving our labor statistics. Okay, so it is okay. I think so. I think that, for instance, myself, all of a sudden I've just decided that I started a little farm. It's something I never contemplated. Of course, I started this like a year ago, but it is just because I think it is useful. Okay. Operation Feed Yourself had some positives. Okay, it was. I think the challenge was one of sustainability, but frankly, backyard gardening and all of this today, people are becoming even a lot more health conscious. If in your backyard you can plant something, your own tomatoes, and ensure that you are not putting too much chemicals on it, and number one, when you do this, you cut a certain cost. Okay, you save some money. You can ensure that I have looked at this and done it myself.
So you have some credibility and trust for it.
Oh no, what I mean is, yes.
You have what you're ingesting.
Yes.
You know where it's coming from.
If all of us are doing it and we are able to provide tomatoes for our tables, I think it is useful.
Mr. Amaliba, it's not about the way we have to do it and whether realistically we have the framework for it. Because at the end of the day, we should know that what we're doing, this is the end result and this is going to be the effect.
I think that's a good idea, 120 million Canadian dollars. But I just hope that it will not go the way the presidential initiative on cassava and gari and all those things went. It is my prayer that this time round they will get it right, because also of the fact that it will give employment to our people. I think that the next thing is to look at how to take the produce away from the farms when you produce them. Now that we've not even started food for planting, food for jobs, if you are traveling along our roads, you see plantain, you see foodstuff rotting, getting bad. What is the strategy to ensure that when they produce, there's a ready market? Because what is going to happen is that there's going to be enough for us to eat, but the reserve, what are we going to do? Is there a strategy for that? That, for me, is what we should look at. Apart from the fact that my prayer is that it shouldn't go the way the presidential initiatives went. Beyond that, I think that I wish them well, and just that there are people who are complaining that there are no jobs for them yet. The communicators in Kumasi have gone on strike. They are saying that there's no job for them. Ever since the government came, they've not gotten jobs. And I think that they will direct them into these areas to see whether they can get them jobs.
Let me say that I think it is instructive that what was inaugurated was a technical committee. We want to look before we leap. We don't want to, like it was done at Elmina, we don't want to build a factory before you go and begin to look for a loan to build, to farm.
To have an outsource for the raw materials.
You don't go and look for the money to build the factory.
Before you go and look
then you remember that, oh, I don't have
raw material.
Raw material. So I must now go back and look for the loan to give to the farmers to
develop
farm
to develop
sugar
the network for the production.
You know, so we are not making those mistakes.
It was the same thing for the presidential initiative.
As for
the same problem. So I hope they've learned from that.
You see, if we made that mistake, assuming without admitting that we made that mistake.
You didn't make that.
Assuming without admitting.
But where are the presidents?
Assuming without admitting. Then you see, you know the song, first fool, you know be fool.
That's what I'm saying.
Second fool, nine
be the fool.
So somebody did it and it failed. Then you have gone and borrowed money from India to build a factory when you didn't even consider that I need sugar cane. First fool, you know be fool. Second fool, nine be fool.
But let's look at this. Members of the vigilante groups apparently were being told by the Minister for the Interior, Ambrose Derry, will not be barred from applying to join national security organizations. We know that there have been extreme agitations from members of Invisible Forces and Delta Force. The latest being members of Delta Force who went to hunt a security coordinator for the Ashanti region. I think Georgie J is called. How are we going to do that rushing into the security agencies? These vigilante groups. I'll start with you, Abraham.
But
because I know these groups belong to both the NPP and NDC.
In recent times, we have seen these vigilante groups cause mayhem and brutalize people. The NPP has not, as it were, shy away from them. They admit that these are their people. Indeed, the worst of it all was when, in the glare view of the president at the Flagstaff House, a police officer, ACP Nankam Bruce, ASP Nankam Bruce was brutalized by these hoodlums. I think that we are beginning to see Ghana descending into lawlessness. And the president, for me, has failed up to this point. I'm told today he's going to Kumasi to deal with the Kumasi issue. But you see, you know Boko Haram in Nigeria, it started on this small note and people didn't take notice of them. And now they have X, you know, on their faces. If we don't deal with these matters and allow this vigilante group to get emboldened, as they were emboldened to even attack a policeman, and now the security agencies are afraid of them. I am told that the man they picked in Kumasi was picked at 2 p.m. and by 5 p.m. he was released and he was back. This is the kind of lawlessness I'm talking about. Because the security agencies even fear this invisible force and the Delta forces. I think that the administration, this administration, is breeding terrorists.
What?
Yes. And I think that it's about time that churches who were so vocal under the NDC administration begin to speak out. These same people who were criticizing the NDC administration should begin to speak out. But the shocking thing is when I heard a parliamentarian indicate that, Japan indicate that they were going to admit them into the forces. And this was collaborated by the interior minister that yes, are they not Ghanaians? Now, I thought that when you are, recruiting people into the forces, you do some background checks on them. If you know that these are vigilante groups and the members there have engaged in acts that are unacceptable, and even you, the interior minister, you've gone to parliament to indicate that they are looking for some of them to arrest and that their leader has been arrested, why would you openly say that these people will be absorbed in the military apparatus?
The security
The
apparatus.
security apparatus.
It's not the same as the military.
Yes, the whole and security apparatus, police, prisons, and all those things. I think that
The military,
it is wrong for the Minister of Interior to collaborate the statement made by the Member of Parliament and ready himself to begin to absorb these people into the forces. Where will their loyalty be? The first question is, where will their loyalty be? People who are known to be operatives of the MPP and have openly declared their support for the MPP and are even causing mayhem. Look, time has come for people like you in the media not to shield some of this conduct of the government. Let's tell them in the face that it is wrong, and let's begin to speak out. It is as if this government has a blank check and they do all the things that they want. Can you imagine these security forces if we absorb these people into the security services and you ask them to go and maybe protect some maybe installation, and it is under a regime that they do not support? Don't you think that these people, by openly identifying themselves with the MPP, would tend to sabotage the system?
But who says that the current people in the security services are neutral?
At least.
Who said that?
At least. The difference is that they have not openly,
Are you sure?
shown to the entire nation that they belong to a certain group of people and causing mayhem and attacking police people. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. But my thing is that
I think you have made a very valid. You asked,
And the answer came.
a very valid statement. You asked him a very valid question. You see, I don't like the pretense. First and foremost,
pretense of what?
I think it is important to approach from this angle. First and foremost, I condemn without equivocation. I condemn in total anybody who thinks that they can hold the good people of this country to ransom. Anybody. I think that there is a state authority, and all of us must come under that state authority. As for politics and what everybody has contributed to bring a political party into power, these things that are playing out happens everywhere. You don't remember in the NDC period, in WA, they went and raised the regional minister. They were the tender documents, state property. They brought it in front of the WA regional administration and banned it. NDC operatives. You see, if NDC people do it, it is wrong. If MPP people do the same, it is wrong. I will not condone such illegality. It is, and again, it is the way we all do our politics. I mean, sometimes we lead people on and create a certain sense of entitlement for people. What are they complaining about? It is we who worked to bring the party to power. Who worked and who didn't work? I agree. They worked.
They did strenuous work.
Who didn't do strenuous work?
You did gentle work.
I didn't do gentle work. You know, I would work 8 hours a day. I spent a fortune. His Excellency the President, at his age, would start at 6 o'clock in the morning and end at 2 o'clock in the night. Okay. At his age, would start at 6 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, he still is going around campaigning. So as for this, we did. Everybody did. Number one. Number two, we must clearly understand that it is not all of us that will get, quote unquote, some appointments. It is limited. It is not everybody who will be appointed. But again, it is not also everybody who will be appointed in the first 3 months.
But is it not because of the promises that you make to them that once they
but,
help in the political
but,
activity and you come into power,
yes,
you're going to give them so and so and so?
Yes, but it is unfolding. It is not everybody who has gotten.
Okay.
We are all at it.
Yes.
I think that they must exercise some patience. They say that some will come in the morning, others will have theirs in the afternoon.
But Mr. Chairman, if you have a cursory look at the utterances from especially party executives, it doesn't seem to be condemning in wholesome.
Oh, I don't know of one who has not condemned this.
I see.
The last I will want to say
is
that I find it strange and ridiculous for anybody to say that it is wrong for a Ghanaian, any Ghanaian, to seek to be employed in any arm of the security agency.
Well, I think the point that he's making is
You
that
live in viewers are intelligent,
they seem to be readily identifying themselves with a political party.
The reality is that
more so,
the reality,
they are involved
Roland,
in acts that
Roland,
result in some level of vandalism.
The reality is that
or even
if you want to go to police, if you want to go to fire service, if you want to go to immigration, they have a process. They have a criteria they use
by which you are chosen.
They will go and check your background.
Besides, you go through a certain training regime, you say.
I am saying that before you become a police officer, ordinarily, they will go and look into your background. They will want to ensure that you have no criminal record. They will want to ensure that you, but as for, I find it hypocritical for anybody to begin to talk about party affiliations. It happens every time.
You seem to be condoning wrong, don't you?
I'm not condoning wrong at all.
Okay. Emmanuel Chamantinge Jacko is a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon. Thanks for joining me, sir. You're going to parliament today?
I am.
Great.
Today they are debating
going on recess?
The bribery report.
Oh, true.
Yes.
Okay. That is what I hear. We were waiting for it yesterday.
That's the topic.
The MPs will tell you they don't talk about it, so that's how come we never brought it up for discussion.
The matter is...
And his brother is in the thick of the whole matter, so we'll see.
So what has that got to do with it? The brother is a minister of energy.
That's his brother.
Okay.
It doesn't take away from the fact that it's his brother.
In whom I am very well pleased.
Exactly.
Okay.
I humbly wish to submit that I think that he's
and Abraham Amaliba
hardworking.
is a member of the NDC's legal team. He's also a legal practitioner. And thanks for joining us for this segment of the show. But as always, we have a lot more discussions and other issues we want to look at on the show. Please get interactive. On Facebook, we have Join News on TV. We have our interactive handle on Twitter, Join News on TV. As you do all that, please let us know who you are, where you're giving us those messages from, and we'll read through a couple of them. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.